Welcome to Suburban Living. This is Ed. Beautiful, cool morning here in West Virginia. We're going to work on this garden today. Looks like a mess right now, not much of a garden right now. Those are all weeds in the middle. Got the tiller out. I've already tilled this a few weeks ago. This is what we're going to plant today. We're going to plant potatoes, sweet potatoes, Blue Lake bush beans, sweet onions, Big Bertha peppers, zucchini, yellow squash, pickled cucumbers, Mamma Mia peppers, jalapenos, whoppers, tomatoes, McCutcheon tomatoes, and Cherokee purple tomatoes. And I think it's going to work out well. I hope to show you some things, some ways that we plant some of these things, how we plant tomatoes, how we plant potatoes, some things that we do. We use Epsom salts and other things that really help the plants turn out well. Okay, about 15 minutes of work and the garden's tilled up, ready to go. We'll get ready to put some plants in the ground. We're going to start with some sweet potatoes out on this end of the garden. And the way I like to do it, I like to make a hill about as tall as I can make it, about 10 inches if I can. It's not quite that high. These are Georgia Jet sweet potatoes that we have here. I like to plant these about a foot apart, about 6 inches deep, and plant them over here by the edge of the garden because they are going to vine out. Okay, the sweet potatoes are in the ground. We took just an old stick, stuck it down in the ground in our hill, and then dropped them in there. They worked pretty well. We had Georgia Jet and then also Beauregard sweet potatoes. We put the Beauregard on this side. We figured B comes before G in the alphabet, so maybe we can remember it that way. Here next to it are going to be potatoes. We have this row. We like to string these off to make them fairly straight. More beans will grow in a crooked row, but at least they look a little nicer to the eye. When I cut these potatoes, now we didn't go buy special seed potatoes. We have before and certainly do, but I like to cut the potatoes and at least have 2 eyes per potato. These are already sprouting pretty well though. These are some type of a red potato, and this was just a bag we had left over that kind of got a little long in the tooth. And then I've got a few whites over here. Measure the garden, it's about 20 feet wide. I have about 22 of these, so we're talking about a foot apart. Normally I make them a little bit closer, 8 to 10 inches apart. I like to put them cut side down and put the eyes up. Okay, we actually made these just a little bit closer than a foot apart. Now we're not presently putting fertilizer on these. If you do put fertilizer on these, it's good to put it in the row first. Drag a chain or something through the row. Make sure you get a little dirt on top of the fertilizer. You don't want the fertilizer right on the potatoes. At least that's the way my dad taught me to do it, and his dad did before him. But you can, as these start to pop up, put a little fertilizer on top of the soil, and that's probably what we'll end up doing. Okay, just a quick update here. We've got sweet potatoes, we've got red potatoes, and now we're planting Blue Lake bush beans. We like to plant these kind of close, about a foot apart. We've done 3 at a time. Now you can't do this with half runners or some other vining bean in that way, but bush beans you can. We're just going to plant 2 rows right now. Blue Lake bush beans. We call these hills. We say we plant 3 in a hill, about 8 inches apart, all the way down through. And then when you pick them, you can pick this side and that side of the row also, and then do the other side. Okay, next row. Burpee pickle bush cucumbers. You can't see that very well. Plant these about 1 inch deep. You can't see that either. About 2 to 3 per group. We're planting about 3 feet apart. I just made one long hill all the way through the row. I had marked about every 3 feet, and we're just going to plant those in this row. All right, next in line we're planting these Big Bertha peppers. Peppers are pretty easy to grow, but you have to know how to do it. And one of the secrets that we have learned is to put about a tablespoon of Epsom salt in the bottom of the hole, and then scattered around with the dirt just a little bit when you plant them. That makes a big difference in growing nice big peppers. Alright, something else we do with these Big Bertha peppers, we take these bamboo stakes and stick in the ground, and then as they start to get peppers on them, we tie them off. Those Big Bertha peppers weigh down the plants, and if a little wind or something knock them over, and they'll pull over with the weight, so we stake those off. Next row we're going to plant onions. Typically we plant onions a lot closer together and then pull up every other one for green onions for salads and let the others grow. This year we're doing a little different. We're planting them further apart. We're only going to cover them with about an inch of soil, and then as they come up through, we're going to start pulling the soil away from them. And then in doing this, supposedly you can grow a lot bigger onions. We've never been successful at growing big onions, so we're going to try that this year. We'll keep you updated and see how that goes. Okay, the next thing we're going to plant are tomatoes. Tomatoes need a little room because they do bush out. You try to bunch them up and it just doesn't work real well. What we like to do, we like to dig our holes, put Epsom salts in the hole just like we did with the peppers, and then we like to mix up some Miracle-Gro, and then we put about a quart of water that has Miracle-Gro in it in each of the holes as we put the tomatoes in. Also, we take our fingers and pinch off the bottom leaves. We plant these as deep as possible, and that all becomes root. And that's kind of a secret to planting good tomatoes. You pinch off those bottom leaves, plant it as deep as you can. That all becomes root, and it makes the plant a lot stronger, and it also gives it a lot more nutrients. Okay, the planting of the garden is done. These are squash and zucchini hills. We put 4 here on the end of the garden. And then here are our tomatoes. We just planted a dozen plants. It's important to put your tomato stakes in as you're planting these. I don't know that it's critical, but once the root system starts, you don't want to disturb that root system by driving a stake down through. You might break the main root or something like that, and might kill or harm your plants. So we have all those in. We're going to give you updates as things grow and little tips and things that might help you in your garden. Thank you so much for watching.